Test. How's it going, guys? Waiting for you guys to come in. Have a pre-recorded episode with Bryce Yockey, who has won World Series of Poker bracelet. Super old school. Played high stakes with him quite a bit back in the day. Good buddy. Definitely gonna have him back on the show, especially for Putnam, Omaha. Gonna have him back on the show for Magic the Gathering Live at the Bike. But let's wait for all y'all to come in. Opening the chat now. Hold on, guys. What's up, Mad Benjamin? Sandy Joy, Mad Benjamin. I will get your t-shirt in the mix right now. There was a lot of stuff going on. What's up, NK? Ivan Panita. Why do we have commentary Monday? I don't know. Why do we have chat Monday? No cards today. Today is the PokerCraft podcast, the Monday Live at the Bike show. I have a pre-recorded episode with Bryce Yockey, so I'm just going to wait for you guys to come in a bit, and then I'll play the episode. Bryce, a good buddy of mine. We go way back. He plays a lot more games than me. Big fan of PLO and mixed game, as I am now, but we can always go back to Hold'em when we need to. There's no game today, but there will be hand analysis later for Bryce Yockey's World Series of Poker bad beat against Josh Aryeh, as well as his most impressive hands on Live at the Bike. Mad Benjamin, we're in the middle of some stuff, but we will definitely get it going. What's up, Eden Rocks? Thanks for all the props. This is one of my best shows. I mean, I know this because I watched it, and Bryce and I know each other very well. A lot of insight onto the high stakes poker scene. Bryce played many more games than I did in the high stakes scene. We both played high stakes no limit hold'em, 7-card stud, PLO. He also plays high mix game. Open face Chinese poker, he's a legend. He loves deuce to 7 triple draw. You guys must have heard his bad beat against Josh Aryeh. This Friday high stakes is most likely going to be 50-50 100 with 100 big blind ante, and Garrett's in the mix. Barry Woods, Uncle Abe, possibly Johnson. I talked to him, and if he can make it, he will. World Series of Poker main event champion. I found the post in Reddit. I guess it was part of Daniel Negrenu's vlog. Was pretty funny. This chick named her Instagram name is Your Hottest Ex-Girlfriend or something. Daniel Negrenu was trying to ask her if she was single for Alan Kessler, and she responded she was single. And Alan Kessler's single, but Daniel Negrenu possibly overlooked that she and him had dated in the past, and she just ran with that one. Mad Benjamin, I think he's from Georgia. Josh Aryeh is from Georgia. I don't remember. Paul's vlog, yes, there is, and it might be sooner than later, but updates on that in a bit. Not yet. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. Let's start with this week. This Friday should be 50-50 100 with 100 big blind ante. Should have Garrett, should have Uncle Abe, should have Barry Wood should have high possibility Johnson. He's still checking his schedule, and a lot of usual suspects. Eden Rocks, yes, Live the Bike always has stuff in the works, and you see them happen. You see them happen. I'm gonna wait 4 more minutes, then play the Bryce Yockey PokerCraft podcast. Oh my, so many thumbs down already. Jeez. Some future guests, we're gonna have Dennis the Menace, Kelly Minkin, Mac Verstatic, the lawyer, Mamacita. What else we got in there? Guido, who is a serial entrepreneur. He's got a lot of interesting stories. He knows Kung Fu. Exciting news, Joe Ingram's getting Andrew Yang, Democratic presidential candidate hopeful, on his podcast. As he mentioned, he's in support of online poker. So that will be definitely exciting. Shout out to Cyrus Namani, who mentioned Live at the Bike at a Andrew Yang gathering. Nick from Yuma, I have not gotten my flu shot yet, so please don't give me the flu. Paul's vlog, have you heard any high stakes rumors you can share, such as Ivy rumors and being broke because he was staked by Jungle? I don't. Rumors aren't good because, especially for some of us who are constantly on air, because it's like we don't want to start something that isn't true, and then once it breaks, then we could try to put our opinion pieces. But in general, Live of the Bike is more just like, hey, everyone, you come and play, especially if you're a named player or you like poker or you're a fan or you're just like out here in the LA area. Kevin Stanley, what's the best way to get on Live of the Bike? Go to liveofthebike.com. I'm going to type it in the chat and then sign up and tell us who you are. The scheduling's done over a month in advance, and obviously regs get priority because they show up on time. And we're a show. The worst thing to happen is people don't show up. So definitely next month I have some people requested a couple months before to get on the show, so they could tell you about their stories and how they get on. And I appreciate their patience, but we got a lot of stuff in the works here. What's up, Metal Doctor? Seb Black, I did not see that Art Papazian made TMZ. I'll go check it out, I guess. I saw Ben Affleck made TMZ. Ryan Feldman showed me that. If you have any questions for Live of the Bike, this is a great time to ask every Monday. And I interview people, mostly players on the show, especially if they have interesting backgrounds, like Julie Yorn. She is the producer, movie producer. She produced Hell or High Water, which has 4 Oscar nominations. I had Phil Stark on here, who wrote Dude, Where's My Car? He wrote for That 70s Show and South Park. DJ Melody is a world champion DJ. He also was a DJ on 92.3 The Beat. Dan Abrams, he is also a movie producer. He consulted for Live of the Bike back when it was first formed, and he also consulted for the WPT and World Series of Poker. We had Nick Vertucci, we had Ken, we had Jerry Fang, a lot of players just giving you guys the backstories. Definitely gonna have more coming up. Oh, I guess Art was at Ben Affleck's table. Cool. Eclipse. Bryce is coming up. In fact, let's get started. This is the PokerCraft podcast on Live at the Bike. I pre-recorded an episode with Bryce Yockey, so we're going to play that and hope you guys enjoy it. How's it going, guys? This is pre-recorded. It's the PokerCraft podcast on Live at the Bike. We have Bryce Yockey.
What's going on?
He's got 2.5 million in tournament winnings. He has one World Series of bracelet. Here it is. It is Pot Limit Omaha High-Low.
My best game.
Your best game. Bart Hansen says that too. It's a highly
right.
technical game, right?
Yeah.
Go for
it's
low.
like really, like it's not played very much in like casinos.
Yeah.
But it's like pretty popular in the World Series every year, and like people who play 08 like always really like it.
It's basically go for low, backdoor and high.
I mean, sometimes there's no low possible, you know.
Right.
So it's
right.
like you got to just kind of evaluate your hands as they come, which is cool about it because it's very fluid on every hand.
Right. We've had it on the show a couple times, so we'll try to get you on there so you could show some chops.
Sounds good.
You are known for playing every form of poker, right? Or is there anything?
I mean, everything you'll find spread in a casino, I pretty much played like at least 100 hours of.
We've definitely played high stakes, limit hold'em, PLO. I don't know if we played no limit. It's possible, but I'm not sure.
Maybe,
Deuce to 7.
Yeah.
7-card stud.
Yep. Stud 8, Raz,
Yeah.
08, every
No, I'm
draw.
trying to think of the stuff that we play. I know you play because I hear about all the stuff that you play.
I mean, you
don't
played mixed with me sometimes, right? So like you must.
Oh no, I probably did, but the thing is, like, my career was like straight down spiral. So
Yeah.
I played bad and ran bad. That's a bad combination. That's actually PLO and mixed games what ended me from the high stakes. But
Yeah.
yeah, because like I was doing well in limit, no limit, and stud, and people would say that, but just like I actually enjoy this like much better, like the construction. I think we talked about it before too.
Yeah.
About the lifestyle changes, and it's like you don't have to jam your head into high stakes. It's a very bad lifestyle.
That's something I learned kind of the hard way.
Right. We all did.
Yeah, but it took me going broke twice to figure that out.
I went broke once, pretty much, and it was very painful. Did you have any resistance? Because my thing was like, it was my fault for going broke, but I had such family issues that I was trying to communicate, like, what I was doing, what this is, and it got over, I don't know, too much on their end. And now, my mom definitely starts to get it more.
Yeah. I got kind of fortunate when I first decided to go professional. My mom kind of like freaked out. My dad thought it was really cool because like he likes.
Well, that's at least one out of two.
He likes to gamble, but I also like got super lucky. My career basically started by hitting a tournament at the World Series for like 100,000, and then all of a sudden it's like, look, like I made all this money. You can at least let me try to do it,
Right, right.
And then like at some point they realize, okay, he's doing really well. Like we
Right.
should just let him do his thing. So now like they're both really supportive.
That's good. Like,
Yeah.
my thing was, back in 2004, 2005-ish, when Moneymaker, hitting the No Limit boom was coming out, we had the option, or I had the option at that era to drop out of school and play poker for a living. But I'm like, I could grind while I do school and just pay for school.
Yeah.
And Sean Snyder did that as well. And just like, it was painful, but like, it's a life choice.
Yeah, I mean, I considered dropping out, but like I know my mom would like actually kill me if I did it. So
Right.
I'm like, all right, that's not happening. So like I kind of just like graduated and like played like I played like probably 20 hours a week while I was in school, like basically like a part-time job.
Yeah, so we basically did the same thing. Yeah. So that's like, I think getting a degree, and especially in this era, like 2010 and beyond, it's not so much for a career, but it's like you do it for your future in-laws potentially, so they don't like rip on you, because you're like, oh, I could do this, but I'm doing this out of choice, and look at what I'm doing.
I mean, I studied finance and stuff, and I thought like that would be like my career and be in a spot where like I could do well in and like enjoy it. And that might have all been true, but like honestly, I'm super glad I found poker because like it's been great for my life.
Right. I mean, as much as, when you hit the downswing or, when you're annoyed, you're like, oh, F poker. Like, it's done so many positive
Yeah.
things in my life that, like, I just can't. I gotta stop complaining. I gotta be like, dude, this is first world country problems.
It's
Like,
tough, man. Yeah, I mean, you view like your downswing like that, like just like in a vacuum. But when
yeah.
you look at like what it's done for you
Yeah,
overall, you're
exactly.
like, you know what? Like it's good.
Like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, 'cause, like sometimes I'm saying like, God, I'm running so bad now, and then I think like, okay, well, actually, like smashed, like every time, like once in a while, I just like smash a tournament. You're like,
Right.
wow, like that makes up for so much of all the rest of
Yeah.
the run bad, you know?
Yeah, and I don't even play tournaments. I just play cash. So, like, when you always forget. Like, I don't even remember how much I run it up, just like rounders. But
Yeah.
I can remember sometimes I got lucky because there were a couple times I was playing online on massive pots and I got it in bad, not like I shouldn't have. I had like top set. It's
Yeah.
like King 10-9, and they
Yeah.
have Queen Jack,
Yeah.
and it's against somebody's gonna blast off.
Yeah.
And then the board pairs, I'm like, yeah, if I lose that, that's like, a $30,000 swing
I
or
mean, it
something like
sucks.
that.
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
So we'll get in. First of all, you were big on open face Chinese poker, right?
Yeah. So I used to play a lot of the one card at a time version.
Right.
And then I played a lot of the pineapple one when that got invented. I was actually kind of big in like helping getting that game popularized at the World Series because I taught it to Sean Deeb, who
I
then like
remember
started
that.
teaching to everyone else.
Yeah.
And during those 2 summers of the World Series of Poker, I kind of like just didn't play a lot of tournaments at all. I just kind of started playing a lot of Chinese.
Yeah, that summer, like, I was doing well in the beginning. I didn't do that well. It wasn't one of my main, ups or downs. But you learned that there's extremely high variance in that game.
Yeah, I took the single biggest loss of my career in that game.
What was that?
470,000, but I had 25% of myself, so not a very big piece, but I lost way more than I thought it was ever possible to at that time.
Got it.
Doesn't just one night is pretty insane.
And I hear you're owed a lot. For a minute? No, not anymore.
Most of my debts are settled.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So it's been a while. I don't really play the game that much anymore, to be honest. Like I play like a little bit on the app here and there, like with people I know. But
It's bad. I don't know. I think it just wastes too much time. When you're playing it on the app, I don't
It's
know.
gambling.
That's just me. Yeah.
oh well, that's what you mean.
Just
yeah.
me. Yeah.
I mean, to me, like I think a lot of people play it like as if they're playing like any other game on their app.
That's
like
fair,
on their
yeah.
phone. They just play because like they enjoy it. They're passing time. Like
Yeah.
and that's what it is. So like, but it's like if you want to do that instead of anything else, like it's not a big deal.
Yeah. I just jones too much when it's my turn.
Yeah, I mean, I know that feeling. I don't really do that anymore because like the
Right.
game like stopped being fun for me. But
Yeah. No, same here. But it's more like just I have a really bad thing when it's your turn. I'm just like, oh, gotta go,
it's like your train. Like that's how
Yeah.
that technology gets you. The notification pops up. Beep. Oh,
Right.
yes.
And I have so many other things to do that's like lose sight. So back to the focus, which is your interview. We want to get the Bryce Yockey story and then the poker story. So
Okay. I grew up in Torrance, which is like south of LA. I went to school, massive nerd throughout school. I learned how to play chess when I was like 6 years old. Played a lot of that. Got second at a chess tournament. I played lots of video games. That was kind of I started learning how to play Magic the Gathering. I played that a lot. I got really good at that game. I went to the national circuit there. Yeah, pretty standard nerd kid path, I'd say, in a way. You just found something new that you really enjoyed and then really threw yourself into it. And for me, that was that ended up being poker around the time I was 15. In 2004, I watched the World Series of Poker main event. David Williams got second in the tournament.
it's a big Magic guy.
Yeah, and I actually played Magic against him on the circuit. I'm like, oh, I know that guy. Maybe we can all play, So I got my friends who played it also, and we all got together and played.
Yeah.
And that tournament was basically kind of what set me on that path. And I remember Greg Raymer and Josh Eric got third, and Dan Harrington got fifth. And I remember all those guys and all those names, and they all come back in like some way like into my path in the future, which is kind of cool, which is kind of fun too.
So small interjection: Josh Aurier is the one that bad beat you in this Deuce to Seven World Series.
True.
And we'll talk into that. But you play with Josh like quite a bit throughout the years.
Yeah. He got third place in the tournament I won my bracelet in. We got in a really big pot where I got super lucky on him. It was like pretty standard, but like he had me crushed, and I got lucky to backdoor low for half the pot in that spot, and then ended up busting him later. And then I also played against him in the half Hold'em, half PLO heads up tournament that was like probably like 6 or 7 years ago, and we were like, I don't know, we were in the money. It was maybe like 16 people left. We played a really long match and like got to know each other a little bit then too, and he beat me in that one, which is got me there.
I threw a line out to a lot of the Magic the Gathering people. I didn't know that you were in Magic, so if we get that going, definitely bring you in the mix. I went on 2 pro tours too. I actually won a third, but I didn't.
Oh, no kidding!
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get a boxing draft.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, David Williams, Casey McCarroll. Like I was actually. Do you know the Cube, like the Singleton? Mm-hmm. I'm credited for pioneering that.
Really?
I had the very first one. I brought to the World Series.
I need to thank you for that, because that thing is like
Singleton,
when I get together with friends, like all we ever do is just draft a cube. Like we don't do anything else anymore.
Like Brian Weissman, he told me that people credit me with pioneering that.
That's cool.
So I'm like, yeah. So,
yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, so let's continue 2004-ish.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm like 15 years old. I'm playing poker with friends once a week. We get a $5 bill, go to a Carl's Jr., break it into quarters. We play until someone won it all.
Right.
Did that basically like, twice a month until I graduate, and then I go to college. There just happens to be a poker club at my college, so I joined that, and we play a free roll tournament. And I make the final table with like 5 or 6 other people, and then we just basically turn that into like our cash game. So everyone who final table ended up turning this into like a cash game group. We played once a week, $50 buy-in. Basically played all night, every night. We would just drink beer and play poker all night. It was fun. It was like a college thing. We enjoyed it. And then basically got actually there's another story I had before this one, because this one's kind of good actually.
Yeah.
So, freshman year in college, I'm basically playing poker with them a little bit, and then playing on PokerStars like to learn. And my friend, it's like, all right, play $5 sit and goes on PokerStars and like learn how to beat these and make money. And like that's how you're gonna start with poker. And I could not beat them. I was so bad.
There's no way. I don't believe you.
No. I was so bad at these sit and goes. You don't understand. And I like literally like dusted like $200 and $5 sit and goes. And then I would play cash games and tilt off more money. And I'm like an 18-year-old freshman college student. I have no money. Like I lost like $500. Like it's like every dollar in the world to me. And I'm like, all right. Like I look at my bank account. I have like $80 left. I'm gonna take 50 of it. Put it online. If I lose it, I'm quitting poker forever. I put it on stars. I play 5 sit and goes. I lose half of it. I put the money on like 10 cent, 25 cent. The rest of it, I lose it, and I quit poker for life. Okay.
Okay.
And then 2 weeks later, my friend hits me up. He's like, "Yo, have you heard of Party Poker? They're giving $70 for free to any person who signs up." I'm like, "Well, I might as well. It's free."
Right.
So I sign up. I lose 50 of it. I play a $10 tournament, and I win for $1,700.
Nice.
And then I take half the money out and like get my money back, and then I take the other half the money. I put it on full tilt and like got the bonus, and then rake back and stuff. And then I just played on full tilt, and I'm like I'm gonna be super careful. And then I grinded small stakes, and I got better, and I got better. So what's crazy is that like everything that I've ever done or you've ever heard of about me literally was dependent on one free roll a Party Poker offered in 2000.
You swear you would have never gone back?
No, I swore it off. I'm
really?
like, I can't keep losing money like this.
Really? Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it was like that was like 2006 or something, 2005. I don't know. It was like
I honestly, yeah. I mean, I've said I'm never gonna play again, and I just keep coming back. But
I probably would have ended up being one of those people who like played strictly for fun.
Really? Okay.
Like once, no, not like for no money, but like for fun, like once in a while. Like if I had extra money, I would play once in a while.
Yeah.
I would have been the fish. But
I don't believe that. But
you don't understand. Like it was such a long and hard path to get good. Like that's why when people ask me like, should I start trying to play poker? I'm like, honestly, no, because it just like in order to like not lose money, you have to spend so much time improving. Yeah. And so much effort improving. And there's lots of ways to do it. But the thing is, the reality is like, it's like most skills in your life. Like, you have to spend time working hard at it.
Yeah.
So you get better at it. And like, the reality is most people don't have the time or money to do that.
Not just that, it was a lot easier back then.
Yeah, it was easier to win. Well, that's actually why I think it's even more so now than today. Like, then
that's what I say in broadcast. I'm like, it's not impossible. It's definitely doable, but it's a lot harder now, and the upside's way lower.
Of course. But that's the thing. Like, so now if you look at my path, like I was just saying, like when I graduated and I was 21, I went to World Series of Poker for the first year.
Yeah.
You know, I had started playing when I was 15. So at this point, I'd been playing for 6 years already. That's by the time the World Series rolled, my first World Series roll around. So it's like, when you look at that perspective, like, wow, this guy's actually been playing poker for a pretty good amount of time.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then like, even then, I managed to go broke twice after that. So like, if you think about that, like, the path is like extremely long and very bumpy. So it's like, I don't think like going pro is like worth it in today's era, honestly.
That's literally what I said. That being said, going pro can be a bit different because there's a lot of things set up now that didn't exist in the past, like props, or it's a much more stable thing.
Sure. I mean, it's different. I mean, I think you can definitely like play and like make money like on the side, but like to put your whole livelihood on it is really hard.
Yeah. No.
Like if you just have like a bankroll to the side, you said I'm just gonna play poker with this, and you like make that grow, that's great.
Yeah.
But like once you have to start taking your living expenses and stuff out of it, now all of a sudden you're like, wow, like this is like hard to keep up with.
Yeah, the cost of living even back then was already going up, and now it's just like going up
way more now.
Right. I think
it's kind of crazy actually.
Yeah, it's pretty. Like I see prices just around me just going up all the time. But back to the party poker thing. I did really well with the sit and goes, the 215s and the 109s, especially 215s. Like it was just so much easier back then. And literally, I feel like I don't know if a book came out, like maybe Harrington's book, like overnight, like it stopped being.
Dan Harrington's book was huge for that.
Right.
That's actually kind of what I was talking about, like way back in the day, the 2004 Final Table, like how some of that stuff came back. Like Dan Harrington's books were part of how I eventually learned how to win.
Right.
Even though like today, like they're very archaic.
Yeah.
But like back then, when like the only thing you had to do is like learn like the absolute fundamentals.
Yeah.
And play with people who like didn't know that, that was enough. And like that was like basically like how poker got started for so many people.
You said the F word. Like Dan, Zach, and I mentioned, it's like winning in poker is a lot more about fundamentals. All these videos you see on Live at the Bike, the World Series, the clickbait videos, yeah, they happen, but mainly, I don't know, what would you say, 85% is like strong fundamental play?
I mean, if you're trying to win, most of the time you need to just do what is like the right play in a vacuum.
Right.
But occasionally you'll find situations that like you can deviate, and sometimes the right play in the vacuum might be something crazy, and people just don't even realize that.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it is like the big bluff or like finding the big call, but like usually, you know, like if you're not really sure like about your read or some other situation or like the right thing to do, the best thing to do is just play like the more or less conservative route and do what you're supposed to do.
Which is ironic considering the hands that I'm coming up.
Yes.
No, but again, this is a different era. We're gonna have like a few of Bryce's hands, and they might be out of line for this era, but definitely that time they're far reasonable.
You know, after rewatching some of them, I think some of them are good.
Yeah.
And some of them are not good. So. But like,
I kind of wish I had videos of stuff. Like, obviously, I was actively staying off camera because I was like, I don't want people to know how I play because it is a big detriment. But, you know, especially when you are versatile like you and play so many games, then you just like stop caring as much.
That's kind of how it is for me.
Yeah.
Like even though like they basically like we're gonna be talking about a bunch of no limit hold'em hands, the reality is I don't play much no limit at all anymore. I like mostly play PLO these days, and then I play mixed games too.
So yeah, that's something I mentioned to the audience, that even though no limit comprises of most of televised poker, the high stakes poker scene is not really no limit. It's a lot of the other forms.
Yeah, most high stakes games in these days are probably PLO, to be honest. Hold'em is still there, but it's just harder to find or get organized or anything. I just think
and even limit hold'em's more popular than no limit, I would say, for the high stakes.
I guess it depends what you consider high stakes.
Yeah, I guess I told Dan.
Is it like 1-2? Is it like 40-80? Yeah.
100, 200.
If it's 1-2 and up, then yeah, like limit hold'em's definitely more available.
Yeah.
And I would probably compare 1-2 to like maybe like a deep 10-20 game or 20-40 or something.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically when people just view like, oh, I want to get to this like no limit holy grail, but really a lot of the bigger games are either, private or like televised.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's kind of like an evolution of poker. Like, once people learn about other games, they start playing them. Like, oh, this is kind of fun and it's different. I'm gonna start playing this.
Yeah.
I kind of think that's the reason a lot of people end up in PLO also, just
Oh,
because
yeah,
like
yeah.
like this is fun and I enjoy it. I'm gonna also play this game, and then if people think that way, then those games are just gonna pop up. Where like I don't think Hold'em's basically reached saturation. Like everyone has played it.
Yeah.
Like there's nobody who doesn't know how to play normal Hold'em. Like
Right.
like they may not be good at it, but they know how.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who don't know how to play other games. And as they learn, that player pool will grow.
Right.
So I kind of think that's what's happening in poker personally.
Yeah, to fire shots or encourage you guys to get on mixed games. When you're playing these draw games, you get dealt 5 cards, and when a player draws 4, what's the Hold'em equivalent of that?
I mean,
I would think even limping deuce 3 off under the gun is better than drawing 4 in a lot of cases.
It's probably worse, but
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, it's tough because like if you don't play the draw games, like you don't realize there is no real corollary a lot of times. But it's basically like, you want to generally start with 5 low cards, right? That's
Yeah.
the best hand you can generally get. And then if you don't, you want to have 4 low cards, and then you can only need 1. Then if you
Right.
don't have that, you want to have 3,
3,
and then you only
yeah.
need 2, and so on. So it's
Yeah.
like, it's really easy to get 1 low card. So taking 4 is basically means you're like playing almost every single hand.
Right.
Which is bad,
Yeah,
Like, if you're trying to win, like that's bad.
Right, so that's the thing is, like, even in the mid-stakes, you see players like that, and especially in the split games, when low takes half the pot or Badoogie takes half the pot, it's really hard to lose the whole thing against a player like that.
Yeah, I mean, but that's like kind of true, like in poker in general. Like that might be true for like one hand there, but like if you're playing Hold'em with a guy who plays like every single hand, it's really hard to lose a player like that too. Like maybe in one hand, but like not over the course of a night.
Yeah, over the course of the night, but they can hit a lot more in Hold'em than I would say mixed games.
Yeah, that's kind of why I don't think there's like any corollary. But the thing is, like in Hold'em, no limit Hold'em, it's really hard to like get to showdown with a weak hand.
That's fair. Yeah.
Because if they know you're playing everything, they can just choose to bluff you, and they also know like they can like be super comfortable with a hand like top pair, and they just keep betting, and you're just kind of like you just don't know what's going on.
Right.
So if you're sitting there and you do limp in like deuce 3, and now you're like, all right, I'm praying I flop bottom pair, I'm praying that bottom pair is good,
Yeah.
and then I'm praying they don't bluff me off bottom pair. You're like kind of hit this like parlay. You're like, wow, it's like really hard to get shown. But this is why like playing like offsuit garbage and Hold'em is so bad because it's
Right.
just there's just too many different things you need to go right for you in order to win the pot.
Right. Yeah. So, anyway, we keep sidetracking because there's so much to talk about. But go back to like was 2005ish.
Yeah.
You're on Party Poker.
Yeah, so I mean, I played online. I played with friends. I would sneak away to the casino sometimes for turn 21. I would put on a suit because I looked so young before I had a beard that they would always card me. So I literally put on a suit to walk into the casino so I could play poker. And then I just like I assembled $5,000 to my name by the time I graduated, and I just went to the World Series of Poker and decided to play. I mean, I'm like I'm gonna get a job. At that time, the idea of going pro was a dream, but didn't seem realistic still. So
Now we're looking back, you're like, oh, it's actually very
I
realistic.
got super lucky. Like I know a lot of key hands that occurred for me to get there. Like in that tournament I won with 13, there was like 2 tables left. So somewhere between like 12 to 18 players left. I got 2 sixes all in pre-flop against 2 queens. All right, I'm a 4-1 dog. The
Right.
flop came out queen deuce deuce. I won that pot. It came out
Running
6-6,
6-6?
6-6, which is like nearly as bad as the beat I took in the final table. Like
Yeah.
this is so like I basically won a pot. I had no immediate outs and then only had backdoor 1 out. Like, and I hit that, and that's like part of the reason I have a career.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the World Series, I go to the World Series. I play a $1,000 tournament. I bust. I play a $1,500 tournament. I bust. And I came here with the idea that I'm going to play this 5,000. Just if I lose it, I lose it. Because I wanted to experience the World Series. I'm still thinking I'm going to get a job. Graduated in 2009. It's a pretty bad time to get a finance degree. So I had some downtime before I graduated. It's like right after the housing crash.
Right now, 2008. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so I'm there, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna just play, and then I play another $1,500 tournament, 6 max no limit hold'em, basically what I played online poker, which I was comfortable with. I wasn't good in my mind by today's standards, but in that era, like, poker was so much easier. It was so soft. People made so many mistakes that even though I was much worse, I probably did better then than I do now.
That's what I say on broadcast too. I mean, I'm definitely not up to date and stuff, but our comparative advantage back then was probably pretty high.
Definitely bigger.
Yeah.
Like, it's like not even close. And then, so I play this tournament. There's 1,600 entrants. I get super lucky. This guy gifts me his entire stack pre-flop because he wanted to go play another tournament.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, he just put it in with like 6-3 offsuit. I had ace king and won.
That's still 75.
Yeah, I mean, well, honestly, like the tournament, like you're happy with that spot, and then I like win a bunch more pots. I continue. We're going deep. It's like the very end of day 2, and this hand comes up where I raise 3-4 diamonds on the button, and the big blind calls. And the flop is ace 8-6 rainbow, and he leads half pot. And I'm like, this guy never has an ace if he plays this way. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, if he had like ace jack, he would re-raise anyways, or like maybe ace 10 even re-raise. I don't think he has a real hand here. So like, I just call with 4 high, no pair, no draw, just like planning to try to bluff him, because like this is like 2009. Like, that was like a thing that worked.
Right.
Like, in today's era, that would be really bad. But like back then, that just worked. And like, this is kind of what I'm saying. Things are different.
Right.
And then the turn's a 3, and I turn bottom pair, and he bets on the turn again. I'm like, well, I turn a pair. I'm now. I'm just planning to call. Like, I'm planning to call and call again.
Yeah.
And the river's another 3, so I just backdoor trips. And he checks, and I'm like, oh my god, he actually has a real hand. Because if he had a bluff, he would have bet the river.
Right.
So I just go all in, because I backdoor trips. Like, he's never going to think I have a 3.
He have, like, ace deuce?
He has ace jack. Oh my god. I know. And I was like, I like hit him on, I put the most ridiculous beat on this guy. And he's like, what the fuck just happened? Oh, sorry, my language. But like, that's like legitimately how he felt.
Right.
And like, I win this huge pot, ended up being chip leader, and then we go into day 3, which is like now approaching the final table. There's like 12 people left, and then like I play a bunch of pots and standard stuff. I get ace jack and ace 10, I win. Another guy bust, and then 4-handed, like everyone has even chip stacks on this final table. And this guy in the big blind, he would go all in every time I just completed this. Every time I call the small blind, he would just go all in. Every single time. I'm just like, dude, this guy doesn't have anything. But so like I went to dinner, and that dinner with my friends who like, we all played poker, but none of us were good. We just played at college together, right? Like, we came up with a plan, like, all right, I'm going to limp in these hands and trap him. The first hand back from dinner, I get 2 10s, I limp the small blind, he goes all in, and I call. He's king queen. He just drills the king and busts me. I was like, oh my god, how does he have this hand here?
But it's going in anyway.
It probably not, honestly. If I raise, he probably would have just called. No, he has like 25 big blinds. But like, this is 2009. If I raise a small blind, he's not going all in with king queen. Like, in today's era, someone would just jam king queen.
Right.
But back then, he would just call, and the flop would come out like queen jack high, and I would probably fold 2 10s somewhere.
Fold, yeah.
I mean, I'm not bad and something, but like, I'm not going to go broke.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just crazy to think like how different poker is just in that way alone.
Yeah.
But like, so sitting there, and like, it's like, okay, so like I lose that hand, but like now I have $100,000 in my name, and I'm like, wow, like what do I do? So I went home. I paid off my student loans right away, just so like I couldn't get buried in debt down the road. And then I had like $50,000, maybe like $40,000 left. I'm like, I'm gonna try going pro, and I started playing 5-5 and 5-10 no limit at Hustler Casino.
That is very responsible to play those stakes.
I studied finance.
Kelly Criterion.
I mean, I didn't know what Kelly Criterion was. I learned about that later, but yeah, like I mean, I did know that, like, all right, prioritize paying off my loans, because like, for me, in my mind, I'm thinking maybe this is still a fluke. Like, and it was super lucky, right? I mean, you heard the hand that I got a lot of chips on, so like I got super lucky. So like maybe it's a fluke.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking in my mind, like, man, like I don't know, I'm even gonna hold up. So at least I better take care of this and like lock up some of the money. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I understand.
So I do that, and then I basically. I just start playing that a lot. I slowly got into PLO. I got invited to a private game. I started playing those a little bit here and there. I started playing commerce, bike, all over the place. I used to commute to Bike Casino like 3 days a week. Like
Torrance?
No, I lived in Marina Del Rey at this point. Because I moved there because I moved in with like some college friends and stuff. And then back then I was going to Hollywood Park a lot, so it was like kind of close. But then I started commuting the bike every day because they had a 40-80 limit hold'em game, which I played a lot of, and then they had a 5-10 no limit, and I played a lot of that. So I just started playing all those games, and I just started slowly learning how to play everything.
Yeah.
And then I started playing the mixed games at bike and elsewhere. I just learn a bit, a little play, and then I started playing at Commerce, which is like the big boy place.
Sure. Yeah.
For quite a while, it's like kind of like Commerce is like slowing down now, but back then it was.
You don't
like
have to say that. Just go on. I'm just kidding.
Commerce is slow. No, Commerce is slowing down. Don't go there anymore. You know. But
no, it's true. Yeah.
But back then, like that's when the games were big, and I like started playing there and playing bigger than I'd ever played before, and putting so much money on the line, and that's basically like around the first time I went broke.
So was this around 2013? Because that's what happened to me and Sean Snyder in 2013. We
2012 or 13 probably.
Yeah, that's basically. I guess it's a pretty. I mean, Jaeger Surikov also.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Jaeger. I forgot about him, man. I haven't seen him around in a long time.
He's grinding at Commerce like 60-120.
Okay.
Yeah,
so he's still playing.
Yeah, he's still
cool.
playing.
Yeah.
I mean, we all definitely. I guess we all went through rough times. We just came off online so arrogant. I mean, that's at least me and Sean and Jaeger.
So that's actually. Like I never experienced that because I never did well at online poker.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
I mean, I like the only thing I did good in main, the only thing I did good online is I'd win a main event seat every year. But that was like it. Like I never smashed any tournaments. I never had success in cash games.
Really?
Like yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I learned how to play mixed games on there, but I lost a lot of money doing it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like I feel like people often assume that like people who are really good today, like were like kind of like always brilliant, but that's almost never true. Like they usually had to go through a really steep, tough learning curve.
Sure. Making
Lots of mistakes. It's very rare people were just like brilliant from the beginning. Like some people are like I know like Jungle Man, right? Like he's a pretty good friend of mine. We talked, and that guy has just always been brilliant. Like he's just a savant. Like he's really fucking good at poker.
I believe it.
Yeah, and like even today, like he's like well known for no limit, but he's actually really good at mixed games these days. And he's just good at poker in general. Like it just clicks for him. Most people aren't like that at all. Like most people did it the hard way, which is like tons of experience, tons of hours, making mistakes, making small adjustments to their game over time.
Yeah.
I mean, that was me, and like I said, I went broke doing it. I went broke twice. Like I didn't go broke because I was like amazing. I went broke because I sucked. Like I made lots of mistakes, you know.
Sure.
Like that's the thing. Like and like I hope I don't go broke again. But I'm like you know I know it's possible.
Yeah.
But I think like I'm more responsible than I used to be. And I'm
same
better.
as me.
Yeah.
One of the spoiled things that happened is like I did school. I was trying to be a screenwriter. So basically, I would play 6 months of the year and then do my other stuff. I could back then. I literally could just take $2,000, and you know the people who know me know this. I take $2,000, just play 10-20 limit online or whatever, low stakes, no limit, and just run it up. And it was never a problem. I did it like so many times, and it's not because I was you have to run good to run it up, but it's not unheard of.
If like at those games online, like you have 100 bets, like it's not that hard to win a bunch.
Exactly.
Like once you have like one good session, like if that's enough, like the ball's rolling at that point.
Right. Yeah. So. That was like kind of a spoiled era. Now online's a lot tougher. It's not available to U.S. people except for.
I mean, it's like pretty much. It's like almost unbeatable now these days. Like it's so hard that like even like good online pros would quit online poker because like it's just they struggle to like find good spots in the game. Like the people are struggling to beat the rake. Like it's just a different era. Like 2-5 Zoom online is like considered like one of the toughest player pools in the world. It's 2-5.
Right.
It's $2 not like $200 $500. $2 $5 is like considered one of the toughest player pools in the world now.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
They're like you're sitting there like okay like that means there's just not a lot of money in the game anymore, you know? Like that's where I view it like online poker is just different now.
No,
live
I totally agree.
Now too.
Yeah, live poker is different. I think it was if you went through the same things that me, Sean, Jaeger, and a bunch of other people did in 2013, we're just too arrogant, and it was mixing in PLO for me. Like in the beginning, I ran good in PLO, and I was outplaying people. It's obvious, showing the cards, and then it just not understanding the game well caught up to me. The cold decks caught up to me. The big,
PLO's brutal, man. The swings you can take there are ridiculous. Like before this year's World Series, I was on the actual biggest downswing of my life, but I had the best bankroll management I've had up to that point, so it didn't break me.
Right.
But I lost more than I'd ever lost in like a 3-month stretch before the World Series. Yeah.
You want to give this number? Or, you don't have to.
I mean, I lost like probably like 380,000 or something. Playing never bigger than 1,500 PLO. Like, not even that very much. I'd usually play like
How many big
10,
blinds?
25, 20, 50. I mean, I don't know. At 1,500.
No, I mean, how many big blinds were your buy-ins? Because that makes a
Oh,
difference. If you're playing like 50, 100, 200, makes
I
a
would
lot of
usually buy in
difference.
for like 5 or 10K. So, I mean,
Like,
somewhere between like 70 to
100.
like 38 buy-ins.
no, I meant, oh, yeah, okay. I just mean,
but I'm saying like I would buy in like 5K to 10K. So at smaller stakes, I'd buy in 5K still.
oh, okay.
And at like 1,500,
I get
I'd buy
it,
either
right.
5 or 10,000.
Right,
But
makes sense.
I like my preference is usually like playing like a 5K game.
Yeah. Actually, you mentioned that too. Like, you, like, on future streams, you tend to want to keep in that range. So that's interesting because I have actually adopted something similar too, which is whenever I play outside, it's always going to be a similar range regardless of stakes. So if I play smaller game, I'll play deeper, but in the mid stakes, I can play more shallow.
And that usually works because like if you're good enough to beat the bigger game, then you can usually play the smaller game deeper and still do very well.
Right.
So like it's rare that the smaller game is going to be tougher,
Yeah.
but it does happen sometimes.
Yeah, no, I mean, if, like, the difference between 2-3 no limit and 5-5 here, it's like a lot of times the 2-3 games are, I swear, are more profitable than the 5-5 because it's like limp, raise, I 3-bet queens, and it goes 4-way to flop. Like, that's just ridiculous.
I mean, it's true.
But other times it's like fold, and the rake is $7 plus 1 to the jackpot. You can't beat that. It doesn't matter, like, how good you are.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of depends. Like you can get some really high win rates in good games, so it's
Yeah.
kind of just more like
The big bet games, you can get high win rates even at smaller stakes.
yeah, for sure. That's definitely true.
Yeah, your story's so long. We're gonna keep going. 2013.
I mean, that's most of it there.
Yeah.
I went broke playing open face, really big.
Oh, okay. I'm not the only one.
Yeah, I
Speaking of variants.
yeah, I got staked. Made my backer a bunch of money. Rebuilt my bankroll. Went broke again. I think either a year and a half or 2 years later when I went on the worst downswing of my life. Took a loan from a friend, ran it back up, paid him back, and been since then. I don't want to say it's been like easy because poker's never easy. It's like a very hard way to make an easy living. I think that's a Doyle Brunson quote.
Doesn't Helmut say that? Or maybe they both said it. Who knows?
Yeah, but I completely agree with that, and like it's poker's it's both stressful but fun. But yeah, like ever since then I've been smarter with my money basically, so I think I've been good.
So one thing, even though poker's gone tougher, I'm still involved in like other industries, and I feel like other industries have gone way tougher than poker because poker, it's like
I'm not sure what you mean.
Like, especially brick and mortar places, like, you know, restaurants are going out of business.
Oh well, but that's always the thing. Like the thing is, like I think the difference is that like, poker has like all these tools to improve that are like readily available now, and they didn't used to exist. So I think I think people get better at a faster rate than they used to, which is like I think that's the major difference. I also think that like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like that people don't play like high stakes the way people used to. I feel like maybe like the overall economy has changed that or something, but I just feel like that it always used to be like everyone was like ready to fire, and now it's like people are very comfortable playing smaller and they're happy with it. And I think that's like kind of what happens to a lot of people. Like when you've been playing a long time, and like if you're not playing for money, the stakes don't really matter. If you're not playing for money, you just want to enjoy it and have fun and feel that level of competition. Like exactly. And I feel like people who've played high for a long time, but then are done with it, and like, all right, well, you know, I'm happy just to play a 5-10 game instead of quarter 50 game or something along those lines. You know,
that's pretty much where I'm at.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, and that happens for people who are both pros and not. But pros have this constant pressure to make money.
Yeah.
So they need to play a certain level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just kind of feel like as people like are less like, all right, you know, like I don't really care about playing as big as I can. Like I don't like I stopped caring about that. Like that was like part of my evolution as a professional. That's part of why I made it because I learned. To
we
stop
talked
doing
about this like a couple of years ago too. It's just like, you know, we were jammy, and then, you know, now it's, I guess it was 2017. Then I mean, maybe we talked in between too, but it's like, yeah, you just grow up and mature because there's always a higher stakes. There's always a better player. Like,
Yeah,
when do
I
you
mean,
stop?
Yeah, the goal, like people who like want to be the best, it's great for motivation, it's great for improving, but it's terrible for your bankroll.
Yeah.
Like trying to continually challenge players who are really good is a really good way to go broke. It's not a really good way to make money. It's a really good way to go broke. Because eventually you're going to find someone who's better than you, and they're going to take your money. It's like the Peter principle, you know? You keep going until you find the place where you're no longer competent.
Right.
But
Yeah, and what people kind of miss, it's just like, oh, it's cool watching the Friday games with like Garrett, Andy, Arpa Pazzi and Dan Zach, but what people kind of overlook is like your win rate is highest when you have the highest comparative advantage over your opponents.
yeah.
And that's like if that happens to be at that stakes, that's great, but it's not likely it's going to be at those stakes.
Yeah, I mean, like it's very hard to be the best player on the table, like
Yeah.
at high stakes games. Like,
Yeah.
like you might be close, but I mean, you might even be that best player. But like if someone's really close to you, it's hard. But like you have a situation where like you're substantially better than everyone else, like it's your opportunity like to enforce your will on the table. Like I mean, I'm sure like we've
Table
all
captain.
seen like an episode where like Garrett's running the whole table over,
Yep,
like everyone's
Art.
terrified. Yeah, sure, like any of those guys.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like they're basically everything's going their way and they're making it happen. And like now imagine doing that without other pros in the picture. Like who's gonna stop you? Like you're just gonna win a lot of money. You're gonna win a lot of pots, you know.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of thing. It's like it's just kind of how it goes. But
No, it's pretty much it. And we're gonna talk about the deuce seven hand with Josh Ari, but for high stakes poker, what do you think the biggest misconceptions are, and what does it take to cut it?
biggest misconception is that being the best player is the most important thing. It's not. The
I've
most
said that
important
too.
thing, most important thing is bankroll.
Yeah.
You need to be good enough to win, and then have a big enough bankroll to sustain your swings. And
Right.
then the second most important thing is being social and fun and communicating with people and like being like a joy to play with. Because when you do that, like now people want to play with you, and like a lot, especially as like a lot of the bigger games have turned into private games.
Right.
The reality is like these private games are private for a reason. Like people, I feel like people don't stop and think about it. They're not excluding you per se. Like especially some people think they're excluding them. It's not that. They're the people who everyone wants to play with. You can call them a fish or a whale or a game starter, whatever term you want to use. The reality is like these people are generally very smart, very successful, and they have money for a reason. And the reason they're playing poker is not to like try to beat the best players. It might be. If they do, they'll play with the best players.
Right.
But if they want to just have fun and enjoy themselves playing poker, they're going to invite and play with the people who they like.
Right.
So like, if you're sitting there and you're the kind of person who like puts on headphones and prop open an iPad and you just sit there and watch a movie and then it's on you and you don't even know it's on you and everyone's waiting for you to act and continually have to tell you this, like it's a real pain in the ass to play with. Like I don't even care when people play slow as long as they're actually thinking about their decision.
Right.
But if you're just wasting time because you don't know what's going on,
Yeah.
like that's just a pain in the ass. Like you don't want to play with that person. And like that also means they're not social, they're not talking. Like poker at its core is a mathematical game, but it's played with people. And people like to communicate and talk to each other. So you just
Right.
need to do that. And like that's the reason like these games are private. And that's the reason certain people get to play them and certain people don't. And a lot of people who don't see this picture. The big picture is not about being the best or proving you're the best. It's about being enjoyable because the people who basically are losing. Poker is not a zero-sum game. It's a negative-sum game. There's been enough money coming in to pay the rake and pay out the people who are winning the game. There's not a lot of people who can afford that. So like these guys, they have leverage and they know it. Why would they ever want to play with people they don't want to play with? They get to pick and choose what they want, so they do.
Yeah.
And like that's the reality of high stakes games in this era now, and that's the thing that's changed. That's also what I kind of said. Like as less people play higher stakes, like as I was saying, they're willing to more play smaller. That means like the people who are willing to play high stakes, who are willing to lose large amounts of money, have even more leverage. You know,
Right.
and that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lifestyle, I've always said on air, handling the high stakes lifestyle's much harder than being good at the games.
Yeah, I mean, emotional control is huge because you have to deal with large number of financial swings.
Right.
I mean, I talked about though I one time had a big loss. I only had 25% on myself, but in terms of a raw number, I literally lost the house.
Right.
I've like won or lost cards on a lot of nights. It's not really a big deal when you're used to it.
Yeah.
But for people who like aren't, like it's a really big deal.
Right.
Even if you don't have 100% of yourself, sometimes the raw number is a big deal to you. And then like the reality is like outside of that, like you have to like change your lifestyle because you're kind of more on a schedule of the game rather than having the freedom to just come in and play anytime you want. Like if you're playing 5-5 no limit, for example, you can come and play. There's always a game at any time. You can play when you want to, which is great. But like when you're trying to play higher, that's not always an option. So like if you're have to be in like a scheduled game, you might play that game and you might have to wake up at,
whenever they call
8 a.m.
Yeah.
Even if you don't usually do that, like I usually wake up at noon.
Yeah.
But I usually play all night. That's why I do that. I don't like I sleep like 12 hours or anything. Like I sleep a normal amount of time, but I just do it later. But like you're like wake up at 8 a.m. and the game might run 30 hours and you might play all 30 hours because you don't know the next time there'll be a game.
Yeah.
So like you have to conform. So like while like being a pro in poker is about having personal freedom and like the freedom to do the things you want.
Literally
you actually like lose that freedom back.
Yeah.
If you have to conform to certain games, and that's kind of the reason why like it's tough. And like poker's honestly like a really tough lifestyle in some ways.
Yeah.
But I think that freedom is worth it. To me, it's worth it. The ability to do what I want with the rest of my time is a good trade-off. But I mean, I don't think it's for everyone.
No, I totally agree. The other thing I mentioned is spending habits. Like you get desensitized money. When you win, you spend money to celebrate. When you lose, you spend money to keep from feeling bad.
Yeah. Good financial management is really hard. I don't do it myself. Like keep like track of the way I spend money, but I really should. But I really think people should if you're going to try to do it as a profession. Like it's really important to see where your money is going. Track how much you're winning. Track that over time. So you break it down by week, by month, by year to see like how you're doing. And then like don't extrapolate, see what you're actually doing and then take your actual results and then assume it's going to get worse. Don't assume it gets better. Assume it's going to get 20% worse.
Right.
And then budget with that. And then everything extra is extra. But you can't say, I had a really good week. I'm going to spend an extra $2,000 this week because I had a good week. Because like you might lose that money back next week.
Oh, yeah.
So like it really is about like planning finances over like a length of time.
Yeah.
And at this point, like, I think I'm pretty good about not overspending. But like you know this, but I'm a real sucker for food.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna talk about it in a second.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
But yeah, so I like regularly spend money on good food, and I probably spend too much to be honest there.
Sorry, getting like a ton of text.
Yeah.
From informative, actually, Joe Ingram, Sasha may play on Live with the Bike soon. Yeah. So everybody has natural habits, and I'm lucky because for somebody who plays poker, I have very few natural bad habits. Like I don't watch sports, so I don't get into sports betting automatically. I don't eat fish, so I don't eat sushi. So my spending, and I don't really play table games unless it's like some promo or jackpot.
Yeah, but everyone has things they enjoy in life, and people spend money on those things.
No, I mean, I'm lucky in that. I ran good in that because a lot of poker players are into sports betting, are into like the foods, and just like it's something that you can't like control so much. You know, it's just part of your life. Like you want to live like this. I'm not gonna tell you to stop eating sushi because it's expensive. No, it's how you enjoy things. And same thing, like the stuff that I enjoy, you're not gonna tell me to stop. You're just like, all right, well, that's what we do.
Yeah.
So that's basically the thing I try to communicate is that even if you could have a sick win rate, but if your spending habits are bad off of these like swings, then you have to count that against you. Because when I'm propping or doing all this other stuff,
this is what I was saying. Like, especially if you're like a non-professional, it's really good to have like a separate bankroll off to the side, and then just use that for poker. And then like you can see how that's growing up, and then you can see like how much am I really winning and losing just in poker, and how much money is going everywhere else. Because your lifestyle is normal, and then you have a separate bankroll, you're going to be good. Like you're just going to live your normal lifestyle with your job or your business or whatever you're doing, and you also have poker on the side, and you see how that's happening. But when you're a pro, and then like you have a good week, like you might say, all right, I'm gonna like celebrate, like you said, and then but like you got to really be careful that you don't shrink your bankroll, because every time your bankroll goes down, it also cuts into your earning ability, because that means you can't buy in deeper. It means you can't play higher stakes.
Yeah.
Like it hurts you. And then if it goes really bad, now you might have to take out a loan, and or you're getting staked. If you get staked, that means like you're having to pay half your income now, half your profit. You basically took a 50% pay cut by getting
Right.
staked. If you're winning, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, you're like, all these downsides. So it's like, you got to be really smart with your money. And that's something, it took me a long time to learn.
Same.
Yeah.
And then basically that one time I go broke, people wonder why I make decisions like I do. Like I used to be a 40 prop and now I'm a 20 prop. But I chose graveyard because it's shorthanded, and your edge in 2040 shorthanded is going to be higher than 4080 ring.
Yeah, I mean, that's
depending on the
that's usually true.
competition, yeah.
That's usually true. And like, personally, like, I've never propped in my life, but for me, like, I'd rather play a shorthanded game because I would enjoy it. And like, I think enjoyment
yeah.
I think enjoyment's really important.
It is, yeah.
Like, if you don't enjoy what you're doing, then poker becomes another job. So it's like, maybe you don't like playing full ring games. Don't play full ring games. Why would you?
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, you think you're going to make more money in a full ring game that you're not having fun in?
Yeah.
Or vice versa. Maybe you like full ring, you don't like shorthanded. Like, you think you're going to really do better in a shorthanded game that you're not actually having fun in? No, you're going to do best in things where you enjoy.
Right.
So, like, you should do the things you enjoy.
Totally agree. And yeah, a lot of people we mutually know, like, you know, Sean Snyder, BJ, a bunch of people. It's like we discuss, because being a prop's a different lifestyle too. Like, in a way, you're restricted, but it's easier on other things because you get the paycheck.
Yeah, I mean, a prop is a job.
Yeah.
Right? It's a job playing poker, but a prop is a job.
Yeah.
And that's good and bad. Like, if you want to play poker and don't mind hours, like, being a prop is fantastic, you know?
Right.
Like, for me, like, one of the things I really love is I like to travel. And I like to travel for poker because then, like, I get to write off my trip as a business expense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm going to head out to Tulum, actually, in 2 days. I'm going to go there for a little bit. I'm going to play poker online on PokerStars for the tournament series they have there. Maybe I'll do well. We'll know. Who knows? We'll see. And then, like, that's, like, the freedom to go somewhere, and I can still use it as earning ability, but on, like, my time, my schedule, and like I said, like, that's, like, something I care about.
So, yeah, we could. All these questions got reversed a bit. But what are your favorite live of the bike moments that you've played on?
So there's this one hand that I wasn't even in that I still remember that I really liked. It's like a PLO episode where I played with Harry and Abe bought in for 100,000. And
I know which story this is.
Yeah. And
go
then
ahead.
he plays this hand where I don't remember exactly how it went down, but basically Abe bet the flop and Harry check raised, or Harry bet the flop and Abe raised, or just called. I don't remember exactly. I think Harry bet, Abe called. The turn brought out like a backdoor flush draw. Harry checked, Abe bet, Harry check raised, and Abe called. They're really deep. They're like $20,000 deep at 5-10. Okay, and like this is really really deep. And Abe obviously buying in 100K, so everyone wants the show. Like he wants to like show off and be like watch this episode. Like
Right.
and. The turn river brings in the backdoor flush, and Harry has like a fifth or fourth nut backdoor flush, and Abe backdoors the nuts, and Harry bets, and Abe just pots it and just beats him in like a fucking $40,000 pot at 5-10. I'm just like, oh my god, this game is insane.
Yeah.
And that one I remember. That one's really good.
Harry tells me a story, and Lyman tells me a story all the time.
Yeah. There's a hand where I like turn jacks into a bluff against queens. And
We're going to be playing that one.
and that one I've always really, really loved because I just felt so sure that she had queens, kings, or maybe even folds aces in that spot. I just felt so sure that I just went for it, even though like I had like jacks, and I'm like, this is an overpair, but I'm still going to try to bluff with it in that spot. And I was like, I've always really liked that one. The others, I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, like I don't think about hands in general like that. I kind of just remember the ones I remember, but like I don't usually have favorites or anything. But
those two are good.
Yeah.
You get asked about the Jacks vs. Queen's hand all the time.
People have asked me about that too. Like they usually ask, like, "Are you bluffing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was bluffing."
Of course.
Like, well, but it's because like they don't know.
Right.
Like they don't know what I'm thinking.
Right,
They might
right.
have an opinion. They might think I'm
I
not
guess
bluffing.
I have a little bit inside information on you. So
Well, yeah, you know who I am.
Yeah.
But it's like for people who don't know me, like they're like, "Wow," like or like I mean, I guess my favorite hand now is probably like. As much as as painful, like my favorite hand is probably the Josh Arya hand at the World Series of Poker this year, because like
you're just like no.
everyone, it's the first thing anyone talks to me about in poker after I see them is, wow, that hand was crazy. I'm like, it is crazy. Like it's like the first time now. But yeah.
But I mean, you still won money in the tournament. It's not like a
Yeah.
cash game. In a
No,
cash
no,
game,
for
you just
sure.
get
Well, I mean, yeah, but
brutalized.
it's true, but it was worse than in a cash game because like the amount of real dollars it represents is so much more in the tournament than it is in a cash game.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the most underrated skill sets, and I'm gonna do a future podcast on this, is when you have showdown value, but you know it's no good, and you have to turn it into a bluff, but at the same time, you have to weigh how likely it is you're gonna get called.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have a bluff, you have to weigh how likely it is you're going to get called, right?
Right.
So it doesn't really matter that you have showdown value or not. What really matters is like how good are your cards at helping you not get called. So like if you've heard the term blockers before,
yeah.
like blockers basically are cards that help you not get called. And there's extreme examples, like it could be PLO, and you might have the bare ace of diamonds or 3 diamonds on the board, and you're like, well, I know he can't have the nuts, so I'm just going to pot it and see if he folds, because you're like, it's really hard for him to have the nuts. Sorry, it's like impossible for him to have the nuts because that ace of diamonds, he now has to find a call with something else. And that makes it really hard. But like in some spots, the blocker might not mean that much at all. So it's just, you got to just weigh each card and like kind of like think about, all right, well, what does that make them have? Like how does that change the hands they can have?
Yeah, so the specific example was, I think it was like yesterday or 2 days ago, people say there's no bluffing in limit hold'em. That's actually not true.
Definitely not true.
Yeah, the bluffing style is different. And I had pocket eights, and the flop was jack high, and the turn was a queen, river was an ace. My eights are no good. I know this. But
You bluff trying to make him hold the jack.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
did. So
Yeah. I mean, limit hold'em is about bluffing in like less, but in the right situations.
yeah,
And I mean, people are used to like bluffing in a limit. Most people bluff a lot in a limit. Like they know generally good spots to attack and bluff. Limit games aren't like that at all. But that's also why I feel like a lot of people think like limit games are like not very skillful.
yeah.
But I think they're dead wrong. Like,
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
yeah, I mean they're just wrong.
Another quote. It's not going to be controversial to you, but the audience says or can state some things I say are controversial. But you make more decisions per hour in limit versus no limit because of so many streets. And while they might be less meaningful, it doesn't make it less important.
That's true. You also play more hands an hour in limit poker.
Yeah.
But you're basically right. You make more decisions, but each decision is worth like less amounts of money.
Yeah.
In like big bet games, your decisions represent like large amounts of like the amount of money won or lost in a night.
Yeah.
Where a limit game, like they represent small amounts. So like it kind of like it's just different. I mean, I like it. I like limit poker better, honestly.
Yeah, I like all forms, but like when I'm choosing, I'm gonna go towards something that's more comfortable, I guess.
It's not even. I mean, there's that, but for me, it's just more fun. Like the game is faster, and like to me, like making decisions is what makes poker fun.
Right.
So making more decisions, even if they're less meaningful,
Yeah.
is more fun to me.
So one thing that some people in chat mentioned too is when I say, "Oh, good call, good fold," but from the view, it may be like visually an easy call or visual easy fold. Mm-hmm. But my contention is that, especially in big bet games, accuracy is incredibly important. Like definitely more so than limit structure games.
I'm not sure you mean by accuracy.
Like when you make these calls or folds, especially in the big bets, that accuracy is going to be more resemblant of how well you do in live poker. Whereas online, you can make some mistakes with accuracy in the start of a session, but your adjustment is going to be more important to how someone comes up on top.
I'm not sure. I mean, I know what you're saying. I don't really know if it's like a difference in live and online. I mean, the reality is like you in poker, you get rewarded for making good decisions, right? So like, I would actually say the opposite. I think online players probably make more accurate decisions.
Okay.
But they just do it with different kinds of information. Like live poker, you have much more total information than you do online.
Yeah.
So like the accuracy of these decisions are different because they're based on different information.
Yeah.
But I think online poker, like part of the things that makes like really good online players good, is that they know like the theoretical correct decision in lots of spots where there isn't a lot of information. And like that's the reason I think online poker is like so tough, is because there's a lot of people who like know like the right theoretical decision. And live poker, like poker, you make money from basically exploiting a mistake that someone makes. Live poker, there's more mistakes being made overall, so there's more places to exploit. So like the best decision in a live game can often be different from the best decision in an online game because the way people play are different.
Yeah.
But I would actually say the accuracy is probably more online.
Actually, I think we're actually saying the exact same thing, but we're wording it differently. I'm just saying, because like you can be theoretically accurate, but the result of the first few hands online may not come out right, and then your adjustments because of more information, that adjustment will lead to better results. Whereas live, like the big pots, if there's like 6 big pots a night, getting that in, like making the right decisions during those junctures is going to.
I mean, I think that's the thing. Like, I think like those big pots are like that's what matters no matter what format you're playing. So I just think like the inputs are different, so the outputs are different. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, it's more like the term of when I say good call or good fold. It's more of like just saying that these things add up. That's basically it. Always just.
I mean, even if it looks like the wrong thing to do based on like the cards you see, like that's not what really matters. Like you don't know what the other person has when you're playing poker, so the decisions are based on the small amounts of things you do know.
And we play on camera a lot, so we know that. And you've commentated too, so we know that the stuff you see on screen is only a fraction of what we see out there when we're playing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like there's a lot of like live reads that when I go back and watch the footage, I'm just like, oh, the camera did not even put.
I mean, there's stuff that you see when you play live that you only see because you're sitting there playing. You like kind of like you might not even realize like consciously that you're seeing something, but like you might see it subconsciously and realize that.
Yeah.
But it's just like a fact. It's just like you just don't know. Like anytime you see a clip, for example, like you have no idea what led up to that clip.
Right.
You don't know how anyone was playing. Like it may look horrifically bad to play one way or play another. I mean, I remember a pot Andy played against Garrett where like I think he made like a 60K river call or something with aces. It's for a lot of money.
Okay.
And Garrett was bluffing, and like
I just don't remember the hand.
Yeah, I don't really remember the details. It's been a while, but it's just kind of like some people are like, wow, how does he bluff there? Like, how does he call that? It's like, I mean, like you guys don't know like what led up to this night, what led up to this week, how many have the hands they played over the past 2 years.
Yeah.
You don't know the hands they played off the show. Like there's so much information that you just don't know. And that's kind of talking about like the inputs are different, outputs. Like the play may look really bad, but maybe it's good. Like.
Right.
Like, it's just hard to know. So it's kind of like one of those things. It's like, even like when you commentate and see the cards, you can easily be saying, like, I think this is a good fold. It's actually a really bad fold. You don't even know.
Right.
Because, like, you just don't know, like, what people are actually doing,
So a lot of times, like, with the big hands go down, I try to get the people to come back in here and be like, just like you're going to talk about some of the hands you play on the show. Because, like, I don't know, and I just make my best guess because I know the people. I've played with them.
I mean, that's how it goes.
I watch them, yeah. And just, like, I try to be respectful to them and just... It's really hard when you're the only person who cannot see the other guy's cards. Like the commentators, the viewers can all see the other guy's cards.
Yeah, I mean, people like I've been on the show and a lot of people said I suck at poker or whatever. I mean, I think they're all wrong. But I'm just saying, like, the reality is like you don't know what's going on, and like there's a lot of decisions that are hard. Like sometimes you're in spots where like you really don't know what to do, and you're like unsure, and sometimes you're gonna make the right decision, sometimes you make the wrong decision.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
So which hands are you talking about?
Which ones? Oh, like out here? Like there's a lot of hands where especially they can go either way. Like if we theoretically know it could be a call or a fold, then we try to get as much information as possible and then try to make our best decision.
Right. No,
and just go from there, yeah.
Yeah. I just meant like which ones you asked me.
Which hands? Oh, we got them coming up. There's like you will have, and the thing is, this is why I love doing this part, is because you were the one doing it, and you're the one there, so you have the most insight. And if hopefully you remember. If you don't remember, then we could just make our best guess.
I mean, it's gonna be kind of fun to watch myself play poker sometimes, and then realize how bad or how good or bad I play.
Yeah. But one thing we want to talk about, we're going to get to the hands very soon, but for the audience, they don't necessarily know anything about deuce to seven triple draw. So we're just going to do a little primer and then add on. You can add on to me because I'm definitely not as familiar with the game as you.
Sure.
So in deuce to seven triple.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
So I'm just going to do the basics and then you just add on. So you get dealt 5 cards and there's 3 draws. The goal of the game is to get the best low, but an ace is high. So the nuts is 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. So strategically in the game, a deuce is very important because unlike ace to 5 triple draw, where you're also trying to get the low, you can make a straight ace to 5 and it's still a low. But in deuce to 7, if you have deuce 3, 4, 5, 6, that's a straight. So this is relevant because in Bryce's hand against Josh, Bryce has the second nuts, but he has a 6 in his hand. So he has a second nuts, and then Josh REA has a 6 in his hand. So in order for Josh to beat Bryce, he has to somehow get rid of that 6, in which the only way to do that is if you get a straight, like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then you can get rid of the 6, or 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is there any other ways?
I mean, you could just throw it away, but like no one would really do that because like you're trying to keep low cards.
Right.
Like if we're just gonna dive into the hand, like so basically, he gets dealt 3, 5, 6, and his 2 best cards he could catch in his own mind are deuce and a 7. That would give him 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. That's the 3rd best hand in the game. It should be winning there
a lot
in his situation, like 95+% of the time if he makes that hand. So he never is going to throw the 6 away and try to make something better. That's good enough.
Right.
But so he's sitting there and he doesn't play the hand bad at all. Like he just is like trying to figure out like, okay, like what's the best way for me to make my own hand? So he raises, I call, or he raise, and he catches basically the best card in the deck for him, which is a deuce. In his own mind, that's the best card. Like in our situation, we know like he's actually better off catching a straight card like a 4, but like he doesn't know that.
Right.
But yeah. So it's just kind of like one of those things. It's like you don't really. Again, it's like kind of like one of those things. Like I said before, like some games just don't have a corollary. There's nothing really like it in any other form of poker because in other forms of poker you don't get chances to like certain hands. Like imagine like playing Hold'em, and like it's like saying like you had Hold'em and the flop comes like king 4 deuce, you have ace king, and then somehow your hand magically throws the king away and catches a 5 and it turns a 3 and you make a straight instead. like I mean
that's fair.
Like it was like even if you could do that, why would you do that? Like you have ace king, right? It's like that's kind of like what it's like in that situation. So like when you don't play these games, it's kind of hard to understand like how crazy what that is.
Yeah, the thing is, because the audience is mostly no limit Hold'em, then we have to try to do our best.
Well, that's kind of why I use this ace king example, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like you sit there and you're sitting there with ace king, like why would you ever throw the king away, right? So you have to somehow find some magical way to throw the king away, which in this scenario is him making a straight, because then if he makes a straight, he has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
You have to throw something away, so you might as well throw the 6 away. You catch a 7, you make the nuts instead of throwing anything else.
Yeah.
It's just strictly better.
Right.
So he found that one magical way to do that, which is like another way to think about it is he hit a 3-outer and then hit a 3-outer and then hit another 3-outer all in the same hand. Like it's like pretty like one with one shot each.
Yeah, so because he had 3, 5, 6, at some point he has to wind up with a straight, right? So that the only two straights are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
So that's basically that has to happen at one of the draws, that's why it makes it so crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this guy on Twitter hit me up and because I was talking,
Ian Chan.
I don't think so. No, so this guy wrote an algorithm to like make sure like the computer basically ran it properly, and like the algorithm adjusts for like certain things. I don't want to get into too much because it's starting to get like too deep in the strategy. But basically, like if he made a 9 or better, he's going to keep it because like he thinks a 9 is going to win often enough.
Right.
So after adjusting for like the possibilities of other card combos coming in, I'm 99.86% to win. But that assuming he never folds. Because he does fold before the last draw sometimes when his hand's really bad. Like if he just caught 2 bricks, he's going to fold. Or if he caught like a hand like 3, 4, 5, 6, well that hand's drawing dead. But like, you know, like there's just in some scenarios he's just going to be folding. Like if he's like 3, 4, 5, 7, he's going to fold because he just can't draw with that hand. So it's just like in those spots, it's like basically like I'm in pretty amazing shape there.
Right.
Yeah.
No one's gonna handle that spot. But all right, let's get on these hands down memory lane.
All right.
Old school, 2014.
Holy shit, that's a long time ago.
Shout out to Queen Deuce. So what's going on here? Ping looks like he raises the 80 on the button. Bryce, you have jacks. This used to be your most famous hand.
Oh, this is the one I was just talking about, huh?
Yeah. This is jacks versus
Yeah.
queens. Cookie has queens.
Is this my most famous hand? I don't even know. I guess so.
Oh, YouTube famous. So you're going to raise a 260. Cookie with two chicks at the same time. But she the days. 2014, wow.
So you just want me to like have free flowing thought while I watch this hand, or what?
Sure. Let's spit out whatever.
I raised too small pre-flop. That's the thing. It's so funny. Like as I talk about like, how poker's changed. Like people like play differently now than they used to. But like if it was today, I would probably made the two jacks at least like 300.
So it's a difference between, I mean, are you paying attention to the stack size?
In this exact hand, I don't remember exactly what I was thinking. I already know like roughly how much she has. I know a cover. I'm kind of more trying to figure out, okay, like what is her hand at this sizing? So like you think about poker, like you're always trying to figure like, all right, what am I trying to do? What am I trying to think? What do they have? What am I trying to accomplish? Right.
Right.
In this spot, like I have two jacks. Like in my mind, like okay, her sizing is really small. It looks like she has a really good hand.
Right.
Like maybe she could do this with like like a 4-5 suited type of hand or something. But I don't know if she is capable or. But she probably has a really good hand. So now I'm like looking at my jacks, like all right, maybe I can set mine with this hand.
Right.
Like I only call 360. She's got like 5,000 back. Like I could easily win her whole stack if I could get it right flop. I check here. Don't really see a reason to do anything else. And then, and this flop, I'm already kind of mentally deciding, like, all right, like, what am I going to do if she bets big or small here? Like, if she bets small, I might just call and, like, try to hit my outs. And there's a chance jacks are good. Obviously, she could have, like, ace king or something, too.
Yeah.
When she bets, I kind of, like, I'm thinking, like, all right, over the course of the night, like, does she seem likely the kind of person who might just find a fold here? And I'm kind of thinking, honestly, I think she is. So I just decide, screw it. I'm just gonna like
Outplay her this hand.
I'm gonna just put a check raise in and then see if like I can make her fold like two aces, two kings, or two queens. I also remember thinking that I want to make it a little smaller because I thought if I like went all in, she might think I had a draw.
Right.
But I made it a little smaller because I wanted to like to look like I'm trying to tie her to the pot with maybe like a set of nines or like Jack 10 suited or something. So this hand, it worked. This probably was the hand, like you said, like people asked me a lot about before.
Right.
But yeah, like at the time I really thought like, there's a really good chance she folds an overpair here. And if she doesn't, I have 6 outs. So it's like, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. No, of course, we've talked over years. I've played with you, watched you play. So I have a little bit more insight, but I could see why other people would be like, they don't know.
I mean, it's very easy to think that like I'm just raising because I have two
You have
jacks
an overpair, right?
and a straight draw, and like I'm comfortable with my hand, so I'm just getting it in. But I'm not really getting it in. I'm actually trying to make her fold.
Yeah.
But I raise big enough that like if she does go all in, I just have to call off anyways. So it's like, effectively like jamming as a bluff, but
Right.
like I'm trying to make it look stronger.
Yeah.
Would I play my hand like this today? Probably not. But
Yeah,
at the time, I did really feel confident that it would work.
Right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's opponent dependent as well. Like you said earlier, we don't know what happened literally to lead up to this moment. Like, how many hands did you guys have? Is there a rivalry?
I don't remember. I just remember thinking she was pretty tight, but
Right, I just mean, like, if, you're showing down the nuts, like, 4 hands in a row, then that would probably influence her to fold. I mean, not non-zero, just a non-zero influence for her to fold.
yeah, I mean, I'm never just showing down the nuts. That's just how I am.
Yeah, so like, when you're on camera or like Ronnie Barda or something, because I play with you guys like, so many hands, and then you're in like a clickbait video. I'm just like, oh my god, like, and people ask me about the hands, and like, in my mind, oh, it's obviously this. I could be wrong, but 95% I'm sure because I played with you guys.
I mean, there's lots of times where like you assume someone's doing something for a specific reason, and you're just dead wrong.
Right. No, that's why I say 95%. It's like, knowing the people, it's like my best guess, but...
I mean, that's why it's poker, right? That's what makes poker great.
Right. So, from her perspective, I mean, I'm sure she gets like a ton of flack for this one, but it's a really hard spot for her, right? I mean...
to be honest, I think I would have checked the flop with her hand.
Oh. Yeah, I guess I haven't seen this hand in a while.
I mean, I don't know. If it was me, I'd probably just put the money in, to be honest. But it's like, I don't know.
It's a different
I mean,
era.
It's not crazy. I mean, I could have aces here. I could have kings. I could have slow played those hands.
Right.
Like, I could have a set. I could have a straight. Like, I could have, like, a huge draw that she's not a big favorite against or not a favorite at all. Like, like if I have, like, ace jack of hearts here, like, congrats. Like, you're flipping a coin. Like,
Right.
it's not a grid scenario. Like,
Right.
you're going to put it in because there's money in, but, like, you don't really want to be... I mean, if your best case scenario is a coin flip, like,
You
it sucks.
probably
But
have to...
yeah, but there's a lot of money out there, so it's like, do you want to gamble? I mean, I personally think that, like, her fold is, like, fine. Like, I probably wouldn't fold, but, like, I'm okay. I don't think it's, like, a big deal. Like, if she had, like, two aces and folded, that'd be a mistake.
Right.
But, like, with
Exactly, queens, yeah.
two queens, it's kind of like, if I have tens, like, you're a coin flip.
Open,
If I have
yeah.
jacks, like, yes, you're a favorite, but that's, like, the one hand.
This is like the worst hand you could show up with.
It is the worst. Well, it's the worst hand.
From her point of view,
yes,
yeah.
like this is the hand she wants to be against.
Yeah.
But there's no guarantee I even check raise jacks
Right.
or tens.
Yeah.
But if I have kings or aces, like like she's just making, like, she's getting it in really bad. She puts it in here. This is why I think the hand's a check.
Right.
Like all this stuff, I would just check the flop, and I don't really. Like it.
Yeah, I never really analyzed this hand, but in 2019, I think and you offered a show or you didn't?
Yeah, I told her she could look.
Ooh, she's taking it well.
Yeah. I mean, some people don't mind.
Yeah, all right. The cash is real. That's what we're talking about. LiveTheBike.com. Go subscribe,
I've been
guys.
playing here for a long time.
Oh, there's Sam. Trying to remember which hand this one.
This is the same lineup.
Oh, right.
I'm wearing the same shirt. I have other shirts in my wardrobe. It's not the only shirt I wear.
Hey, with poker players, you never know, man. Could be same shirt
That's
10 days
true.
in a row.
Well, if some people, like, I know some people who literally have like 5 copies of the same hoodie because that's like the one they like to wear.
Right. I don't blame them. I used to be like that.
Yeah,
too.
this is not a good play.
Mixing it up in position.
Yeah, this is not good. I already play this hand bad.
This used to be a thing, though. Like
Yeah,
3-betting in position.
Yeah,
it's still done today. I mean,
The types of hands people used to pick are really bad compared to the hands you're actually supposed to pick. Like, I would have been much better off 3-betting a hand like what Ping has than what I have.
right.
But, no, I got the Queen 4 suited, Like, can't just fold.
Hey, Queen 4 dominates Queen Deuce, so you're gonna stack Israeli Ron.
Only if it comes out Queen Queen. Is it Queen Deuce suited for him, or is it Queen Deuce offsuit?
Just Queen Deuce.
Just the
any,
Queen Deuce.
Any Queen Deuce. So it looks like Joe's leading out.
That's really weird.
Yeah. Well, everybody plays weird, especially
2014, right? Yeah.
Back then. Yep.
Back in 2014, I actually played a lot of No Limit. Like, I played like on the regular, and I felt like I was pretty sharp back then. Today, like, I mean, I don't think I'm like bad, but
Sure. I mean,
like I just feel like I don't know how much I like my edge in like high stakes games and stuff anymore. That's part of why I kind of stopped playing like the big game Live with the Bike as much, because like it was starting to get too big.
Yeah.
And I knew like there's some
Those
people
guys
who,
are special.
some people are really good, and
Yeah.
like that's all they play. And like for me, like to only play No Limit like, you know,
Yeah, that's
a dozen times a year is like probably not the best situation.
Right.
But hey, maybe I'll come back and play a little. We'll see.
Hope so. They want the return. Also, people nowadays are much better at masking their tells, whether they work on them or not, I think.
Yeah.
Like, back then, there's a lot of study material that it's more...
This hand's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's why it's here.
Yeah. I guess I call the flop because I just don't think he would lead like one pair. Like I have a pair of fours, but like if I don't think he like leads like say two tens or two jacks, like most people don't do it.
They would just probably...
They would just check like
yeah.
always. And so like I feel like when he leads, like he has some sort of like draw, like he probably has like diamonds or like 7-8 or something.
Yeah.
Like if I mean this hand like
This bet, does it concern you that it's small? It's like 1.4k into 3.4k.
yeah, it does, but
looks
it's like
value-ish.
I'm like going so much. I'm just like at this point I'm just going with my read on the
Right.
situation. Like I either think he has.
Did he not show his cards?
Is that Joe Lerman? I might know that guy. Like I might have become friends with him down the road. It's funny.
Well, he probably remembers this hand.
I wonder if he does. Yeah. So there's this hand where this hand basically like it's pretty simple. Like this is like a spot where I literally just had a read on a situation, and I just felt like I just couldn't not go with that read.
It was relatively 2 bricks.
I mean, 3-3 is about as good as a run up
Yeah.
as possible if I have the hand.
Open-ended miss, the high flush draws miss a pair.
Yeah. But if it's the people, I think it's
So there's
What the
Joel, aka LOL. Highly respected grinder, and also on Live with the Bike all the time.
I know this hand.
Joel steals on the button with the Wino poker, 8-6 suited, and Bryce defends. Another gun, King 7 suited, and then no clubs, but 3 pairs.
I mean, this flop is pretty standard. Like I'm always going to check the flop. He's going to bet, and I'm always going to call. Like that's never going to change.
Here's Josh Macchiello.
Haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah, I had dinner with them, or lunch or dinner. Lunch with them a couple weeks ago.
Turn check is standard. No reason to lead. If he's bluffing, I want to give him a chance to bluff.
Yeah.
If he isn't bluffing, he probably has King 7 beat.
Yeah, no, it's actually 2 weeks ago. I was on the show talking about bluff induction out of position.
Yeah, I remember this one.
That looks pretty big for the pot size.
I think it's like 600 or something.
Okay.
So this spot is kind of interesting to me.
Do you say something? Because it looks like a string race.
I don't
You
know.
probably, I'm sure you said something.
I probably did. I don't know. All I know is that like in this spot, we were talking about blockers earlier. This is kind of like a great example in my mind. He said I bet 150, but I'm like almost sure he bet 650, and I think I put them all in. But this is kind of one of those things you want to talk about blockers. Like I don't think King 7 is the best hand here because I just didn't think he was bluffing. I was just pretty sure he had a real hand of some kind. But if he has a real hand, he's probably got like Ace King. He might have King Jack. He might have 2 pair. But I have a King in my hand, which is good because it blocks Kings and blocks King Queen and blocks King 8 and King 6 suited. So it's less likely he has all those hands. And then I have a 7 which blocks 7-5. So like it's less likely he has a straight there too.
Yeah.
So like I think it's more likely he shows up with a hand like 2 aces, or like maybe he has like he could have like 8-6 suited like he does, or Queen 8 suited, Queen 6 suited. There's still a chance he's bluffing. If he has Jack 10, like I win the pot, you know. Like if he's bluffing, I just win because he can't obviously win in any way. But I just think like it's like kind of one of those things that it's just like you really want to like find the cards that like assist you in like finding a good bluff, and I think this hand is like honestly like a perfect hand to do it with in a way. Like, cause like if he's got me beat, he's probably got just one pair, so it's like hard for him to find a call here. I mean, he could do it, but it's hard still.
Right.
And if he doesn't have one pair, he probably doesn't have like the absolute nutted hands either, because like I have a king in my hand. He doesn't have kings.
Yeah.
That's definitely not folding. If it's king queen, that's probably not folding.
Right.
You know, but he can find a fold with like the hand he actually has here, which is like why like the play like looks so nice, because like, he has the right hand, and this hand does work.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily mean like that play is like gonna always work. But I think like when you're selecting bluffs, a lot of people would like bluff with a hand like say like 7-9 here. They call twice and they miss and they check raise, you know, or something like that. But like I think 7-9 is a really bad hand to bluff with, because you want them to have
7-9.
you want them to have like
the draw.
like a draw of some kind for
Right.
them to win. Like, you know, if you have 7-9 and they have Jack 10, you win the pot. You're not supposed to win. That's great.
Yeah.
You know, if they have 10-9 or something, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's like good when you like try to make them fold hands that are basically like medium strength hands that like they can fold, because like they have it more often. Like that same thing like I was talking about in Omaha, like when you have the nut flush blocker. Like,
Yeah.
They're gonna have like a small flush, like a straight more often, and then they just have to find folds of those hands.
Looks like a two-parter. I don't want to touch the video.
Oh, this hand's over. There's another one.
I don't know. The video still has some time somewhere. Oh, there's
Oh
Brandon
my God,
Cantu.
Brandon Cantu. I haven't seen him in a long time.
Is really wrong.
His
Oh
hair
yeah, it's a
over there.
two-parter. It's really Ron raises. Only going +3. It's 80, 8-7 suited.
There's Bear over there too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people I haven't seen around in a bit.
Yeah, they're coming in and out. And so Joe calls and cut off with 9s, and you pick up ace king offsuit in the big blind 3-bet.
I mean, is this like a thing for me? Like I just like look so disinterested in both hands.
I mean, people have said this about me too. Like, poker's so mechanical for us. It's just.
I don't know. I mean, I just feel like I'm like deliberately trying to look away or something. I'm like
I don't
examining
think
myself
so.
for tells now.
Really? Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's definitely something. I definitely look at the old footage of myself. I'm just like, wow. I look really bored. Probably because I've seen this scenario so many times. Ooh, that's a cooler for now.
Yeah. So this
Of course, multi-way.
bet small standard.
Yeah.
So about 300 and 955. That's pretty normal, I'd say. Might even be. That's pretty normal.
Who knows what
Did he raise?
looks. No, he just called.
Okay, I thought he got a purple too.
Like, I always ask the young kids, "Oh, what's quote unquote standard now?" I mean, like, 'cause I'm not up to the latest.
I mean, if the board comes like ace 9, there's like not a lot of draws. There's just one flush
Oh,
draw.
I'm not talking about this hand. I mean,
Yeah.
just like in general, because
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah.
there's always these fads that come in and come out, but the fundamentals don't change that much.
They kind of do though in a way. Like as like people like learn the theory better, like that becomes the new fundamental in a way. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
Yeah. I just think a lot of people like don't necessarily know what that is. Like if you looked at like the Queen 4 suited hand from before, like that used to be quote unquote standard. Like people used to like play that way all the time.
Right.
Like they thought that was like the right hand to squeeze. Like, but it turns out it's a really bad hand to squeeze with.
So you did not get there. There's no 4. There's no king. There's no ace. And there, you're more upset. Well, you're pretty upset at.
It's just one of those things. It's like, you know, you get ace king on a ace 9 board.
Yeah,
Like,
you're
supposed to. You're
right. You're
supposed
supposed
to
to win most expectations versus.
Like, I
cooler.
mean, I'm sitting there thinking like, oh, he could just have he could just have ace queen or ace jack, and I just win
Right.
his whole stack. But
Right. You slow roll yourself in your mind. So ace 10 off are only on +1. What's that in 2019? Is that a fold?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just making sure.
it's just a fold.
I mean, I'm trying to adjust my fundamentals too.
I mean, but if you're getting called by Jack 7, then you should probably raise. And by Jack 9.
Oh, there's Barry Woods. There's Josh Machiel. There's Andy. Look at that. And Jerry. And who's luckier than Josh Machiello?
Yeah. I remember this hand now. So this one I thought was kind of interesting. I check the flop basically because I think I have the whole field basically dead. So I'm trying to either get someone to bluff or put some money in a pot with maybe a hand like 2-8s or something that I have in really bad shape. When Josh bets, I think Josh is the kind of person he would bet and then be really sticky after. So I just check raise for value. I think I have the best hand a lot. If I don't, I always have a lot of outs. Turn queen's pretty bad for me. He could have queen 10. He could have king queen with a diamond.
Right.
He could have a set. He could still have a flush. But when he checks the turn, I just oh, he doesn't have anything. He just has one pair. He might have Jack 10 or having 9-8 or sorry, not 10-9 or something. King queen, and then now he bets the river. I'm just there's just no way he has anything, so I just put him all in. I just go all in as a bluff,
Yeah.
without even thinking about it. This is probably really bad because it's Josh, and he just doesn't fold that much. But it's obviously never gonna work when he's a flush. I never thought I would once get a flush to fold, but it wasn't. I didn't think he had a flush. I thought the best he could have was maybe ace king with a king of diamonds, but not that hand would fold either. But this is so hard for him to have a straight. It's really hard for him to have two pair. He probably has two pair, Jack 10 and he has a lot. Or he's king queen with a king of diamonds.
I had a very similar hand against Trooper on the show where I'm just well, my hand's no good.
Yeah. This one he's never folding, so it's no shot in hell.
Yeah. Well, Art did this to Garrett, I think half a year ago, maybe a year ago. Literally almost the exact same situation, except Garrett had a queen high flush.
Garrett didn't fold, I assume.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Art just had the ace blocker.
Yeah, I mean it's not even a bad play. It just doesn't work when they have a flush.
Right. Hashtag accuracy. Josh Machiello will be coming back on Live at the Bike, and I'm on PokerCraft as well. We want to get all the peeps, all the regs.
I can't believe he's taking this long to call. This is insane.
I think it's nib-rollish.
He's never folding. He's a flush. He check back the turn. I don't even have to. Even if I have a flush, it doesn't have to be the best hand. He could just have a lower flush.
Well, let people take their time. It is a big bet game.
Oh, there's a football game going on right now, isn't there?
Well, by the time this airs, it will not be.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, you mean, are you talking about the show, or are you talking about...
No, I'm talking about real life right now.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is on a different day. So.
Dude, I gotta swap my fantasy teams, man.
Right. I don't know, all my Twitter feed is just fantasy.
Me too. I have a lot of that. I have 10 teams this year.
This is what the commentators are here for, to fill in the dead time when people are tanking.
We gotta just skip the rest of this hand, man. We already know what's gonna happen.
All right. Hero calls.
Well, you know,
or not hero call.
He's
He
not
called.
folding.
Yeah,
I already know he's not folding. This is a waste.
Yeah. Didn't mean hero call. I just meant He's calling. All right, this was a bit of a cooler. Alec Torelli.
Yeah, I know this hand. I get asked about this one a lot. Actually, people just say I suck a lot when I see this hand.
I don't think I was commentating, was it? I don't think so. But when I saw a hand, I'm like, what's the big deal?
So this cold call
From the small line, pretty strong from you.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You could play this hand a couple different ways.
Yeah.
I personally like to flat here when someone else is in the pot because I think it keeps my range wider. It's like harder to hand read.
Right.
But tens play better heads up than they do three ways, so maybe it's the wrong decision. Definitely ends up. Being
I don't know.
Definitely ends up being the wrong decision.
Yeah. Poker jokes. So Alex C bets.
Looks like 600, 800. That's pretty normal, I'd say, for this flop. It might be a little big, but it's normal-ish. My flop call is pretty standard. I mean, there's just enough money in the pot that I can always call with two tens here.
Israeli Ron, Ryan Fee,
Mm-hmm.
Armenian Mike.
So this is like the best card in the deck that's not a spade for me.
Right.
Turn an open ender and a flush draw. If he has like two aces, like I'm like not a very big dog at all. So definitely checking because like I guess I could maybe lead and try to turn my hand into a bluff, but I think it's like probably better just to check. When he bets again, like I definitely can't fold because I have too many outs, but I'm a little concerned. Like he could definitely have like two kings and a spade or something. But I'm definitely calling at least one time here.
So what were people's critiques on you for this hand?
I mean, they don't understand poker, so it kind of doesn't even matter.
Okay. That was just what I was wondering.
But a lot of people are like, "How did you snap call?" I'm like,
I mean, what are you going to do?
What are you talking about? I was
just wanna
straight. Like I'm not going to waste time in that spot.
Right.
Like it's not it's waste of effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I call here. River
I mean,
Jack.
Pot 6.1, you're 4.5.
Yeah.
It's
Check river.
It-
River. Actually, I'm probably supposed to jam.
yeah. Oh, that's what I was wondering when I watched this. Like if you're checking, you're basically to induce a bluff, so you're definitely check calling.
Yeah, I was just deciding whether I should check range or not, but
Right. So yeah. I was wondering, but again, like I don't really remember what was going on.
oh, I do remember there was a guy who called me a scumbag.
Oh yeah,
for
I
keeping
remember
a
this.
$1 chip and putting it in my pocket. He's like, "Oh, he just pocketed 1,000." I'm like, it was a $1 chip.
Right,
I do
yeah.
remember that. That was actually the most tilting thing about the entire hand.
Yeah, and we cleared you. Obviously, it was.
It's a blue chip.
There's
like,
no way.
And then the guy said, "Oh yeah, well, you shouldn't have taken that either." I'm like,
Well, it doesn't play.
yeah, but he obviously doesn't know that. This is kind of
Yeah.
insane. Like people make these comments.
Oh
What they're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about.
Like we do what we can to try to clear up some things to the public. They're just like super standard in the environment, and sometimes it's not necessarily their fault because in different areas, the etiquette's different. But no, that was 100% a $1 chip. I know Bryce. Everyone knows Bryce. He would never palm like a freaking $1,000 chip there.
I mean,
It's just ridiculous.
like it's just an absurd assumption. But
But yeah, for that hand, it's between open shoving or check calling. I mean, once you river straight,
it's kind of
it depends.
interesting. I mean, like, I guess if he has like two aces, two kings, or two queens, he's just gonna check the river every time. If he has
Yeah.
jacks, he's still gonna bet though. So it's like kind of more of a question of like whether or not we should.
Whatever you read him to be. So we have a limp here from James C. 300. Chris limps behind
It's a raise.
tens. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. On the gun raises ace 4 suited, and then Chris Cole calls right behind with tens, and Bryce with the snowman pocket eights on the button. Nick Ratucci in small blind calling Leor. Ace queen of clubs out of the big blind. Re-raise.
Seems standard.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so. I hope I'm not behind with stuff. So James C is actually going to fold. There's a little graphics error there. And Chris is going to call with tens. Bryce is going to call with tens. And Nick Vertucci, of course, can fold ace-3 off.
I mean, I assume this goes call, call, call. Oh, he folded ace-4 spades. Okay, call, call.
Nine, five, seven, two spades. Leroy's going to opt to check. Chris is going to bet 2,000. And this seems like a hand that, depending on the era, you could play it in many different ways as well.
Yeah, you should just call. I mean, there's not really a good reason to do other stuff. I mean, I guess you could raise and
In different eras, like you might
well,
like raise and bluff.
old, yeah, like a long time ago. But like raising doesn't really accomplish that much. Like, I mean, I guess like you might. No, I mean, it's, just raising just doesn't do anything.
Yeah. So now you have Chris has a gut shot. You have a double gut shot.
Yeah. So this hand he checks, and I mean, you can jam and hope he has a flush draw, and then shut out his equity, and then he might even fold a hand like 2 10s or maybe even like 2 queens or like 10-9 suited or ace-9 or something. His actual hand is a fold. He should fold with this bet. But whether or not this is a good play, I don't know. It's probably better just to take your equity and check there. But
if you know he's going to fold, then
it's not about knowing he's going to fold. Like, I know what hands he's going to fold. I'm just not sure if he has those hands. Like, it's tough to evaluate which hands he can have. Like, maybe he never has queens, right? Maybe he always 3-bets, so he just never has queens.
Right.
Or maybe he back 4-bets, he has kings or aces. Maybe he never has that. So maybe he just always has like 2 10s.
right.
You know? And that's the case as a great play because he just folds. He folds them every time.
Yeah. This is one of the most recent hands in the mix. Looks like Nick limps under the gun. King, queen off. Get raised and hijack ace, 8 of diamonds. Bryce in the small blind calls 9-7 suit, 3-way to a flop.
Bad call. Good hoodie though. So this little bet here is so small. It's probably too small. It's like less than 5th pot. Like,
New check raise, very small.
yeah, I mean, this is kind of one of those things. It's like, I think like this is a spot where like you can exploit people. Like, even someone like Garrett, like most people are just not going to call like $500 more when they have like total air. Like, he doesn't have total air, he has ace high. It's like this hand he could call with, but like there's a lot of hands you can have in that spot where just like they just bet like king 10 suited or something. They just, or like queen 10 suited or something. They just fold it. Like, they just like, fuck it, I'm just not going to put in more money here.
Right. And you had a backdoor diamond draw, so if he really thought you were full of it,
you know, honestly, he's probably supposed to call. Like, in theory world. I don't know if that's true, but it's maybe definitely possible.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you're here to lecture me. I'm just like, used to be up on the latest. Now I'm just like,
I mean, you're just getting, it's like $500 more than plus $2,600. It's like just cheap. Like, if I don't have trips, like, you can basically call with anything.
So here we have a great game of pot limit on my hand, and this is to help educate the public of the differences between no limit hold'em and
I mean, like,
PLO.
This is a great game because I got a glass of cognac. Like, that's what makes it a great game.
And your hoodie.
That's a jacket. There's no hood there.
Oh, you're right.
That's like, well, that was like my favorite jacket for a while.
There's Joe Ingram, aka Chicago Joey, SoFlo, Doug Polk, there's Mike Boogie, Dylan, aka Dylan, there's NT Deep LA Andrew, Derek. So, and shout out to King Queen Jack 8 if it existed. I mentioned this in the commentary. People don't know why Ryan Fee's favorite hand is King Queen Jack 8. It's because
I don't know why.
10-9, and then you have the entire universe wrapped to the nuts. But this flop is exactly why the hand is, nut wrap.
Well, my favorite hand is Ace Ace King King double
Double
suited.
suited, yeah.
Sounds very uncreative, but
Yeah.
I just think it's very pretty to look at. So,
Yeah. I got that once in Lyman's game. Folded the river though.
what's he doing these days? I haven't seen him in a long time.
He's a host, PLO Commerce. Same, yeah. He's retired pretty much.
Good for him.
Yeah, he was mentoring on Retired Life, so I'm just trying to follow in his footsteps.
It's a good decision.
You love the game too much to retire.
Retirement to me means that, God, I only have 12% here. That's really bad.
So here, with 10-9 on the board, Bryce can hit...
King, a queen, a jack, or an 8 for a straight.
Right.
And I have backdoor nut spades.
Backdoor nut spades, which is relevant. So this is different from Hold'em, because Hold'em, your best draw can be an open-ended straight flush draw, but a lot of times in PLO, if it's ace 10 6, there's actually two reasonable draws. One is if they have king queen jack in their hand. The other one is if they have 9 8 7, because they have inside wraps. So this is your PLO lesson for the day. Play the great game pile when it's more fun, as Bryce said. It's one of my favorite forms too. So anyway, that's all going to brick. So we're going to come to your famous hand, and let's hear your point of view.
Agony. I mean, I think my hat is like fire. My shirt's really good. So this hand is kind of one of those things. It's like, so for him on the button, like he's the chip leader, he can raise like anything that's playable. Like 6-5-3 is definitely playable.
Right.
I get dealt the second nuts. I mean, we kind of already went over this. This hand's like pretty
Right.
straightforward.
Yeah, it was more to tell the audience what had to happen in order.
He needs to make a straight,
Yeah.
so he's halfway there.
Right. Because pitch is queen and then get exactly a 4 here.
It's kind of amazing how much poker I've played with this guy. Like when you play poker at the World Series of Poker,
Yeah.
there's just so many tournaments that you just don't expect to see the same people very often. But I have played with this guy so many times in the World Series. It's kind of insane. We actually became friends through it.
He was like needling you on Twitter, I saw.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm good with it.
Yeah. So Josh Aryeh makes the straight, which basically had to happen in order for him to break that 6.
This hand, I guess, made me semi-famous. Whether
They
that's
put
good
you
or
over the
bad.
top.
It's whether, I guess that's good or bad is whatever, but I just think it's...
It's when you have a good story to tell, it's always good.
There was times I was like walking down through like the Rio after it happened, and they're like, oh, you're the guy who lost with the low hand. I'm like, yeah, that was me.
To be fair, when you get up and you're like, oh my gosh, you have number 1?
That was insane.
Yeah.
It was like insane, and also like there's this whole thing going on that like you don't even realize. Like he's sitting there, he's like, hold on, like is this the card? Is this the right card I threw away? Like is this the wrong card? If he puts that card back, his hand is dead. Like
Wow.
this is dead. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, I have number 2. I want to make sure he gets this card because I want to get called and win, you know?
Right. Now you're like, oh, I wish they torched that card.
he's like, so now he says, like, he looks at it and says it's a 3-spotter, okay? A 3-spotter is either a 6, 7, or 8.
Right.
Like, if he gets to the 6, he makes a straight. He makes an 8, he loses, right? So I'm
Right.
still a 2 to 3 favorite. Like, I'm supposed to be a
Because
huge
there's
favorite.
three sevens left.
Yeah, this hand was ridiculous. I mean, it's like, how often do you lose a hand when you're like 1,100 to 1 favorite on a 50K final table?
Right.
Like, it's probably never happened before. Yeah.
Well, 4th place is still worth that. So
It was a nice payday, I'm not going to lie. I just really, I felt like I was going to win. Like, I felt like I lost. I went in the final table as a chip leader. I lost a bunch of pots. I got really short. I ran it back up, and then I got dealt the number 2. I'm just like, wow, like this is gonna be faded. Like I was meant to win this tournament. Like I'm gonna come back from 3 ante chips and somehow win. And like, boom, it's like,
hey,
done.
Your life ain't over. Your poker career ain't over. So
Yeah. I mean, like it's like I'm over it now. Like it doesn't hurt anymore. Like it's just like at the time I was just like mind blown. But I like literally busted the tournament. All my friends on the rail drunk, and instead of going out with them, I just immediately hopped into the next tournament, which is the 10K PLO8, and I final tabled it. So like I feel good. Like I was okay with that, you know.
all right. Well, glad to have you here. We're definitely gonna have you back on Live with the Bike some more. We talked about this and the scheduling. So
Sounds good.
Bryce Yockey, any final words?
My Twitter is @SuddenlyBryce. You can ask me questions there, and I'll answer them.
All right, sounds good. Live with the Bike, PokerCraft. Smash that thumbs up button and hit subscribe. Later, guys.